Hey, I'm Adam from JMC Tuning. I thought I'd make a video and introduce you to what we do. You might know us from our friends on the other side of the world, 0 to 60. They've got one of our JMC single turbo tuning kits installed. Andrew. So I thought I would make a video, go over who we are, what we do, why we've designed the kit the way we've designed it, our philosophy, maybe show you my car, which is the first car we sort of built the kit around. It's a 335 E92, 2007. So had that for quite a while. Went through, I think, 4 twin turbo setups from all the, I won't mention the manufacturers, but you know, all the top ones. I haven't tried the China turbos that Andrew was running, but I was running upgraded twins like many years ago, before it was easily accessible to find China turbos. So they all failed, every single one of them. Was I abusing them heavily? Possibly. You know, you don't tune your car or modify your car and just stick with 450 horsepower and that and call it a day. If you've got the bug, you know you're going to keep pushing the envelope and you'll break stuff. That's how it works. As you guys might already have experienced, what I wanted was a solution that sort of I could think about sort of bolstering other parts of the engine rather than just constantly replacing my twins. So I set out to do the single turbo conversion. There wasn't much on the market at the time when I was looking to do it. So at the time I was looking to do it, there was some custom kits out there, nothing really commercially available for right-hand drive. So actually, that's what I should have mentioned in the beginning of the video. We are in Cyprus, like 75 other countries around the globe that are right-hand drive. We're limited with the space that we've got on an E-series chassis. How much space we've got is crazy. It's really tight in there. So there wasn't much on the market for me just to go out and buy. I probably would have been happy to just make a purchase at that point, because I wasn't with the intention of building something and selling it and making a business out of it. So couldn't find anything. Found a local shop to me. Took my car there, explained what I wanted to do, and dropped it off with the hopes that I would end up with in 2, 3, 4 months I would have a single turbo 335. I was naive and wishful thinking, so I took it there. The project didn't really kick off after about 6 months, so the guy was busy in his shop. Cut a long story short, 1 year later, we had, with my help, because the guy was struggling to sort of stay motivated on the project. With my help, I 3D printed some sort of like Lego tubular parts that we could click together and sort of dream up the first iteration of the design. Something was created in that shop, and the quality, not necessarily the quality of the welds, but just the quality of the workmanship, the flanges, the collectors, the V-band accessories. It just felt, super DIY, super sketch. And I thought to myself, well, look, I'm sure something better can be done. So I took the car back and went to one of my best friends, Mike. He's very well known in Cyprus and Greece. He's been building race cars for like 30 plus years. So I said to him, look, just need a bit of space in the shop, need to take my engine out, work on the car. So what we did is I started working on new single turbo manifold design, and because I hadn't done this before, I employed the brains, which is Mike. I said to him, look, what guidelines do I have to adhere to so that we can create something special, that's reliable, that's built correctly, that's not just happen haphazardly. It's with the design with intention. So he said to me, look, having an equal length tubular manifold is going to give you plenty of advantages in many areas. It's going to give you, if it's tuned correctly, it should give you good spool, good sound, which is another one of the things that we all chase for. We want not only our cars to be fast, but we want them to sound good, look good. So yeah, I wanted it to sound proper. And also, one of the things he explained to me was that with a correctly tuned manifold, you're actually putting less pressure on the valve train, and that's with any cylinders in conflict with reverb within the exhaust pulses. And that's a bit nerdy, but we can definitely dive into that if you guys comment and you want more information about the tuning of a tubular manifold, equal length tubular manifold. So one of the requirements was equal length. Okay, so each header had to be of an equal length, and an equal length, not only all the way to the turbo, but an equal length to the first point of restriction, which is the collector, and then equal length from the collector to the turbine. We wanted it to be twin scroll. So twin scroll has advantages and disadvantages. For a street car setup, we thought twin scroll is the way to go. We want it to be come on early on boost. We don't need outright stupid power at the top. We on a street car, especially a rear wheel drive with a generally street tire or semi-slick tires, you can easily out horsepower those the grip on your rear axle. So we would look at sub 1,000 horsepower. I mean, I wasn't actually aiming personally for anywhere near 1,000 horsepower. I was quite happy because my engine was still stock OEM internals, so I didn't really want to surpass 750 horsepower. So at 750, I'm sort of at the edge of what the block can happily handle. Ideally, you'd want to maybe daily this at about 650. I think 650 on a rear-wheel drive setup is going to give you happy motoring. It's going to give you an element of reliability, and now that reliability is generally up to the tuner, making sure that the tuner is not going to sort of overpower your motor. Good safeties in place. The fueling's correct. You're using good quality fuel. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, but I mean, you guys are going to be listening to this, are going to be coming from sort of a whole plethora of knowledge. So you might be a beginner, sort of looking at what you're going to do, your first upgrades, all the way to like what I was experiencing. I've upgraded, I've changed the iteration of my car like 3, 4, 5 times, and I'm sort of looking at settling at a point where at stock motor level, this is the max. Yeah. So without breaking things every other week, so you want to have I've been on this stock engine for, let me check now, 10 years. Yeah, I've been on this stock engine for 10 years. I've put 60,000 hard miles on my engine, and my compression, touch wood before I jinx myself, but my compression's good. The engine's in pretty good health. So I've always made sure that I don't have to just go for the glory run or the glory dyno run or whatever like that. So moving on. So the brief from Mike was equal length. All right. We analyzed the head and the flow, the stock head and flow, and we determined that we wanted the headers to be of a certain length, okay, with a tube specification of a certain dimension. So the ID of the tube being of a certain dimension against that length of header as well. So he gave me the brief, and I had the brief, so I knew what I needed to do. So what we did is, I thought to myself, well, I'm definitely going to make this of a high quality. You know, I'm in for a penny, I'm in for a pound, as they say. So like, I'm in now. I'm going to make something as best as I can. So collectors, yeah. Now the previous garage made some collectors. They were pretty shoddy, not repeatable. So I was thinking at this point, I was in the mindset with Mike. Hey, look, if we make one, what if we make some jigs? Maybe make a few more. Maybe we can sell some, claw back some of this expenditure that I'm outlaying. You know, a bit of a cottage industry, project. Nothing major. No sort of. We're not going to sit and make manifolds for every single brand out there. So I started, should I say? I started off with the plastics again. The flanges, I didn't buy them from anywhere. Everything on this manifold, we did 100% in-house in Cyprus with CNC shops. So the flanges, I got onto my CAD program. I can design. That's one of the skills I have. So I'm a designer. So we got onto CAD. I got onto CAD, designed the flanges. And the flanges, I wasn't just happy with just water jetting them or laser cutting them. All right. Obviously, we got a laser cut with CNC, but at that point, we then took them onto a CNC machining process on a mill, which chamfered all the edges. We cut reliefs for heat management. So literally, the only bit of the flange that's making contact with the cylinder head is where the OEM gaskets seat. Everywhere else is off the cylinder head. So however hot that manifold's going to get, it's not going to transfer heat into. So as you can see, we're always engineering every aspect of this kit. So it's not just slapped together. Yeah, one thing is for sure, we didn't want to just slap it together. So got the flanges made up, CNC cut, CNC milled, and we started from there. Okay, so we started from there. Then I needed to make this repeatable. So yes, we can make jigs, but I also needed a very simple way of repeating this. So I went and got tube elbows, custom made, especially for us. And there's like sort of 4 parts to them. So, you know, we had different degrees. So we had 90-degree elbow, a 67.5 degree elbow, a 45 degree elbow, and a 22.5 degree elbow. So those 4 parts, you can build the whole manifold, right? And I needed it like that because I needed anyone else that was going to be building this manifold to just be able to pick the parts out for that particular runner and build it. Yeah. So anyway, it helped us with measurements as well. We could easily calculate from there, you know, the length of the runner. So I came up with the initial design after about 6 weeks of trial and error, you know, engine on the bench, going through various iterations. Now, every iteration, then we have to start considering the downpipe, the water, the water inlet pipe, the oil feed, oil return, coolant feed, coolant return, and the steering rack. So we had the steering racks where we're going to put the wastegates. So like you might come up with a design, and then when you try to add all these other constraints into the formula, then you realize, you've just designed yourself into a corner, sometimes back to square one, sometimes back to sort of to the middle, and you know, eventually we come up with a design that we have. So the design that we have actually is not absolutely perfect. I mean, it would be, I would say that we've got probably about 5 mil to 7 to 8 mil, 5 to 8 mil of variation, of standard variation across all the cylinders. Okay, so some cylinders are almost the same. Some cylinders will have a variation of a few millimeters, but I mean, it's pretty damn close. I mean, I think having it millimeter perfect, it wouldn't make too much difference at this point. One of the things as well is our centerline radius. In other words, the radius of the bend, not to exceed 2.5 inches. So every bend, however elaborate that header, the direction it takes, will always have the same bend radius. So the exhaust gas flows are always going to experience the same resistance when they're encountering a bend. So all of that factored in, we came up with the design, built the first one, put it on my car, and then we went testing. So we tested until we decided, well, look, we got reliability. We don't have any major problems. So then we took that off the car, built, made some amendments that we needed to, because there were, I mean, I installed my engine into my car probably about 15 times, maybe even 20 times. And that was in and out, changing stuff, fixing stuff, making sure things don't rattle. And eventually we decided, like, let's start producing these things. That's where we were at. I invited Andrew from 0 to 60 to sort of participate. And so I said, look, your 17T car is great and everything like that, but at some point you're might want to take it to the next level. I mean, single turbo is the next level. I think Andrew's got the ability and the contacts of created his own single turbo, or maybe even went with Dan at Simply Tuning. He seems like a super smart guy when it comes to all things N54. The only thing is, I don't think anyone, and people that are in the know, I don't think anyone in their right mind would have spent this much time doing what I did. It's completely not worth it. It's totally not worth it. Like, every component being CNC'd, everything, like the cost to reward is not there. Like, I did it, and probably if I had to do it again, I would say I wouldn't do it. I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't do it, because it's way too much time, effort, money, and the reward really isn't there. But when I start something, I always finish. So that's just one of my pet peeves. I never start something and abandon it and never finish it. So I started it, I was halfway through, I'm just going to see it all the way through and finished it. So we are finished. We're producing them, we've built them, we've got kits available for sale. I'll link something in the description so you guys can check it out for yourselves. If you've never heard of JMC Tuning N54 single turbo kits, definitely check us out. I mean, I think we're slightly different to most. We didn't compromise on our design brief. So Mike gave me that design brief, I didn't compromise. Equal length, no matter what. I had to come up with that particular length and try and squeeze it in to that space. And after many iterations, that's a design. Only one thing that I would say that isn't perfect, but it's sort of grown on me now, is the way you have to clock the compressor housing, and sort of, we got a charge pipe again, no sharp bends, everything flows nicely. We've got a charge pipe that sort of sweeps over to the right and down instead of straight down, is because cylinder one is in the way. It had to be equal length. So cylinder one being in the way. Now, could you bring the exhaust housing a tad forward and go down? Yes, but then you wouldn't really have any space for an air filter. So, we didn't. This is a street car. You got to run a filter. If you want an out and out drag car, you don't need a filter. But I didn't design this to be an out and out drag car, an out and out horsepower monster. Based on our calculations, we think this manifold can flow above 1,000 horsepower without a problem. I mean, you will start getting into some restrictions if you've got cylinder head porting and you've got more flow. I mean, eventually you're gonna come up with a restriction on the manifold, but the manifold's intention and original intention has always been to be a a street car. So a street car, in all fairness, up to sort of 900 wheel horsepower, rear wheel drive, because this stuff probably won't fit on an XI car. Maybe in the future we could come up with an XI compatible version, but the whole intention of this car was a street car. 800, 900 horsepower. You're sort of on the bleeding edge of what you can put down on the road anyway. It'll be an awesome roll racing car. It's going to be a pretty good all-round car at 900 horsepower. It's going to be a heap of fun. So that's what JMC's design philosophy is. It's on a specific brief that was derived from someone who built hundreds of race engines, has many records to his name, trophies, hill climbing, drag racing, time attack. Mike is a wealth of knowledge. He's famous within our sort of region, being Greece and Cyprus, and a bit in Italy and Lebanon, of building absolute crazy ported heads. This is sort of, we're talking years and years ago, before the average Joe could have access to CNC porting, hand porting. I mean, the guy has the knowledge and the experience and the data that he has accumulated over the years to sort of justify why we designed the Manifold the way we did. Now, my car's been running, it's approaching about 8,000 miles now on the install. It's after the final install, and we just buttoned it up and started the car. We've never put it back on the lift. It hasn't had to. It's just, we sort of nailed it, if you like, after we decided to sort of button it up and start the car. We've never had to make any changes or modifications. Running reliably. Currently, I was in the beginning running a JB4, and then I moved to a Reflex. When I was on a JB4, JSR was tuning me. He had great stuff to say about the Manifold. He said he couldn't believe how fast the thing was spooling. I think I've got some JB4 logs which I've posted here and there, and you're seeing I'm hitting target, which was sort of 20 pounds at 3600 RPM. I mean, you don't really need it to spool any faster than that before you start bending rods. Again, I'm saying I'm on a stock engine, so we've had good results, good feedback. The people that have installed the kit and are running the kit, they're just in love with the sound. I will make this video shorter. Obviously, I'm just unscripted here. I'm just yabbering. So I'll put some sound clips. I'll maybe get some new sound clips. I'll start making a bit more video content with my car, showcasing what it is, how it sounds, how it drives. Currently, I haven't got any. I think I've done if I'm not mistaken, I've done a 683 100 to 200 on regular pump fuel, which is 98 RON, 22 pounds of boost, which is quite low. 22. So it's relatively fast. I will be doing some more testing with E85. It's not as easily accessible over here, but I'll get my hands on some, stick it in for the absolute smile factor. I'm pretty sure we're going to be deep in the fives, maybe even more, depending if I can get my rear suspension geometry and tire set up correctly. If I can get enough tire, if I can get it on a good enough surface, could be in the fours. So again, I don't have hard evidence on that, but that's my challenge. I'll be in the fours with the JMC single turbo kit and sounding fantastic whilst I'm doing it. So that's it. So I'll try to give you some more video clips of the car and so on. Okay, cheers.